Hi everyone, this is Stan, your Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. There is a saying in Mandarin, 陈你病要你命, meaning taking advantage of your illness to kill you. It has been one of the most common strategies used by the CCP globally. When facing some obstacles and feeling not strong enough, the CCP will try to avoid confrontation. But once the opponent lowers its guard a little, then it's the best moment for the CCP's vigorous attacks. Recently, as the world has been fighting with a global pandemic and sometimes even feeling tired of it, the CCP's hybrid warfare attacks on Taiwan only continued to increase in its strength and frequency. Now it's not only military threats or sending warplanes around Taiwan, public opinion warfare and psychological warfare efforts also didn't stop. As you see, the CCP is constantly exerting pressure on Taiwan, but in reality what are they doing is just testing where the US's and allies' bottom line is, trying to operate in gray zone, approaching Taiwan, waiting and observing where and when can Taiwan's defense breach. What they want to do is to take an opportunity to create conflicts between Taiwan and the United States. Recently, the CCP has noticed that Taiwan civil organizations, as well as the government, clearly identify the cognitive warfare efforts by China against Taiwanese defensive network. How China is trying to influence the credibility of the Taiwanese government, as well as people's trust in it. In their disinformation campaigns, they're using Line, it's a messaging app popular in Taiwan, and Facebook groups. The disinformation campaigns target different groups of people. They say that massive lockdowns are coming, as well as even martial law or food shortages. What they want to achieve by that is to trigger panic in Taiwan. For example, panic buying is one of the behaviors they want to see. And of course, create turmoil and unrest in Taiwan. You can all see the large number of internet trolls writing both in traditional and simplified Chinese in their attempt to change the direction of the public opinion, create distrust in Taiwan's government. Some of the attacks are directed at those who are fighting with the fake information on the front line, professionals who are defending Taiwan against cognitive warfare attacks, experts who call on everyone to pay closer attention to China's actions, and fact-checking websites. All of these are being constantly labeled and named names. They want to change the meaning of cognitive warfare and make it relative to political struggle. And they want this term to be used only in context of blaming political opponents, so that the ordinary people will think first about political labeling while hearing about cognitive warfare. While being on the receiving end of disinformation, they will simply accept those new rules and meanings, and therefore Taiwanese would simply reject getting the correct information. And during the pandemic, the new wave of pandemic that bursted out in Taiwan in May, China only expanded the scale of hybrid warfare against Taiwan. On the one hand, they continued threatening Taiwan with their army and not let Taiwan buy the vaccines from the German BNT company. And on the other hand, they've been working closer with the pro-China opposition parties, using the lives of the 23 million Taiwanese people as a bargaining chip. They wanted to force Taiwan to buy the vaccine from the Chinese company that has the exclusive distribution rights over the so-called Greater China region, a company called Fosun, located in Shanghai. Firstly, it doesn't make sense, both from the international trade point of view as well as from the political point of view. Of course, the CCP wants to put pressure on the company with its 1.4 billion people market. The BNT BioNTech company is not an exclusion here, but strictly speaking, any company should not give any exclusive distribution rights in other countries to a company from communist China. The CCP's missiles are facing Taiwan. The CCP is trying to take Taiwanese hostage with their vaccine, and this whole situation is caused by the irresponsible behavior by the BNT company. The CCP is threatening to invade Taiwan, its missiles are facing Taiwan, Chinese warplanes are flying around this country. Oh yeah, and don't forget about the warships. And it's also intimidating the other countries, not letting them recognize Taiwan officially. And BNT, BioNTech, a German company, a company from a free and a democratic country, and you give the exclusive distribution rights in Taiwan, an independent country, to a company which is located in communist China? Seems that you're simply out of your mind. And the products you're selling are the products of strategic importance. Vaccines, medical products. Right now, because of your irresponsible behavior, Taiwanese lives are at great risk. And you still don't want to sell vaccines to Taiwan directly and continue being China's hostage. Probably a pretty rich and a happy hostage though. Companies like that have neither dignity nor morality. Right now, Moderna's vaccines have been shipped to Taiwan, and the flight has been arranged specifically to avoid China's airspace. They had to spend some extra flight time to let vaccines reach Taiwan safely. Doesn't it scare you? Maybe just a bit? Just like during the 9/21 earthquake in 1999. That time Russia wanted to send their rescue mission to Taiwan. But it wasn't allowed by China. Yeah, China didn't allow them to do it. On May 27th, there has been an article by BBC Chinese service, how the CCP is using pandemic and vaccines as a united front propaganda attack against Taiwan. Lev Nachman, a researcher at the Fairbanks Center for Chinese Studies of Harvard University, said that Beijing is currently framing itself as a benevolent person who offers a helping hand. And if Taiwan refuses its assistance, it will be thought of as being irrational and unwilling to accept assistance during the times of crisis. It's such a shame that under pressure coming from the CCP, even the public health issues related to Taiwan are becoming political issues. The world's policy of appeasement towards the CCP will only lead to Taiwan having even harder times in seeking assistance. Now, to help Taiwanese, the vaccines have to be sent while avoiding China's airspace. And still some people say that two sides of Taiwan Strait are a family, they shouldn't be enemies. But how can you call CCP's China your family? The other side of the strait is an enemy whose missiles are facing your home, enemy who is constantly threatening your country, and even want to destroy your country, saying, we'll keep the island, but won't keep the people. When Taiwan is having problems, they won't allow an international rescue team to come. They won't let you get the vaccines directly from the manufacturer. One family, it's more like there is a mass murderer who is constantly saying that you're his wife and is threatening you, and in the end you kinda accept. But you've never been married, he's just a creepy neighbor from the house on the other side of the road, and he's intimidating you every day. Doesn't it seem weird to you? Maybe just a bit. Some people, for their own political purposes, are selling their country out, selling the lives of the Taiwanese people just to do some business with China, improve the relationships. I think that the whole situation with the vaccines should make people start asking questions, especially those supporters of pro-China politicians. What is the future of the country that you want? I personally heard some people say, we bought Palin pork from the US. It used to be banned before. We bought the weapons and now we're acting like the US's watchdogs. But let me tell you something, the US is treating Taiwanese as humans, as partners. Every country has its own interest. And for the US, Taiwan at least is a partner with some common interests. The CCP, on the other hand, doesn't want to be even their watchdogs. They had their own dogs and wolfwankers. So who is using Taiwanese as their bargaining chips? Don't you see it for yourself? We all see what the CCP wants. They want to dwarf Taiwan's national sovereignty, limit it as they can. They concealed the virus, and when the pandemic lasted for more than a year, now they're politicizing the vaccines. It just shows us the brutal nature of the CCP system. The world's democracies should unite. Only united can we help each other. And it's the only way to stand up against the dictatorships that are on the rise right now, like the CCP-run China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and so on. But if we don't have consensus here, if we don't recognize the threat coming from the CCP, not only will Taiwan, a democratic country, be in danger of being invaded, it will also make the modern-day democracies lose their rights to speak on the international stage. It's not the CCP's regime only that became so arrogant recently. Even low-key dictatorships like Belarus are feeling more and more insolent, like kidnapping the EU plane just to arrest the reporter who opposes Lukashenko, and who also has the right of asylum in the EU. The flight was not supposed to stop in Belarus. It was a flight from Greece to Lithuania, just flying over Belarus briefly. And now Lukashenko is just arrogantly saying that he has been used by the US and Europe in their cognitive warfare. This behavior is exactly the same as what the CCP is doing against Taiwan, not to even mention Russia's long-term cognitive warfare against Ukraine that grew into a real war. I think that if the democracies won't use this opportunity to support Taiwan's sovereignty, our world, I'm afraid, will just fall into its next dark age. And it would be the worst days for our civilization. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please press like, subscribe, and share. This is Stan, and I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.